Hi, I'm Rebecca with Inland Empire Couples Counseling, and I'm here with Steph, one of our fantastic therapists. And we are talking today about some more skills to help you have great communication in your relationships. And the thing that we are talking about today is taking breaks during conversations, especially when they get intense or it's kind of turning into an argument. So, Steph, start us out. Why should we take breaks?
So taking breaks are really important to help each partner have some time to step away from the overwhelming conversation and to calm down, to gain a deeper understanding of what is going on, and to have an opportunity to go back to the conversation and be more effective in discussing the topic.
Right away, I have a question, and you can tell me if we're just getting to this later. What happens if you don't take a break?
If we don't take breaks, then we end up doing things that are hurtful. We can start yelling or jump into the criticism and defensiveness. So it can create more hurts instead of having that important discussion, be more neutral.
Okay. So, what's taking a break?
So taking a break is doing something that calms you down. It can be anything that distracts you. Deep breathing is my favorite. Going for walks, exercising, even if it's folding laundry or maybe watching your favorite TV show, things like that.
Yeah, I love the physical things, like, some kind of physical activity, because that has a direct physiological effect on helping your body return to a state of calm. But what you do during a break doesn't have to be exercise of any kind. It could be
Yeah.
something else entirely, right? That's just distracting.
hmm
Are you ready to go on what breaks are not?
Yeah, that'll probably help with.
Okay.
So breaks are not ruminating on what just happened.
Mhm.
Lots of times that's what we do. We say, I don't want to talk about this no more. I need space. And then we go and we think really hard about what just happened. And maybe we even go talk to a friend that think is going to be helpful. But doing that only, it keeps us amped up and it kind of morphs this problem into the partner becoming the problem, and it can really just distort the whole conflict and make it an even bigger issue when we come back to talk about it again.
Right. Or you get into that thing where you like are replaying the fight in your head and like planning what you're going to say back to that thing that your partner said to you. Or I know that sometimes couples too will take a break and the one of them is still ruminating, and then they like come back into the room, like open the door and like say something and then close the door. It's like, no, you're not breaking. You're not really breaking from the conversation. You're still carrying it on in your head. So that's like not what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why it's so important. Like, even if you just do something that's distracting, like your favorite show or playing with the dog or whatever it is, that
Mhm.
it's not really, maybe you don't feel like you're calming down, but at least you're being distracted from what happened.
Right. Okay. So when should we take a break?
We should take a break. This is probably the hardest part, knowing when to take a break.
Yeah.
So, it's really important to not prematurely shut down the conversation just because maybe we feel uncomfortable or we disagree with what our partner is saying. But it's when we feel flooded. So when we catch that moment where we catch ourselves maybe wanting to yell or scream, or we're shutting down and wanting to walk away, things like that. So it's that fine line of, is this uncomfortable or am I really overwhelmed right now?
Right. Do you have any tips or thoughts on how to help people distinguish? Am I wanting to take a break just because I don't like this conversation, I don't want to have it, or is now really the time that I should be doing that and that's what's best?
That's a hard one. I think it's different for everybody, right? I think it's like, for me, I think I notice how uncomfortable like my chest feels. I get really like the physiological markers, right? So maybe getting hot, fidgety, and then either for how people start to get loud. Maybe it's noticing that like your voice is getting louder and louder, and or almost to that point of screaming at each other. Or the other one is how the common ones for when people shut down, noticing that when we shut down, we're not listening anymore. So noticing when you start to tune out what your partner is saying. Maybe.
Yeah. And I think that tuning out thing, I like that you brought that up. Like it's different to tune out because you're just like, I don't care about this versus I can't handle this. I can't hear it anymore. And it feels like panicky almost. I think that's a flooding situation where what would be best would be to take a break. Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. What are your thoughts on how couples should go about doing this?
So how to take a break is noticing that flooded state and telling your partner in a gentle way, I need a break. And then a lot of the times I suggest to my couples to put a time limit on that break, because it could be really, it can trigger like abandonment in the other partner if we take a break in a messy way, I guess. So I always, the research says we need at least 20 minutes, right, to calm down, to digest those chemicals that our brain just dumped into our body of stress and panic. And so at least 20 minutes to agree upon a time, but at least 20 minutes, and then no longer than a day, because then that can turn into like this silent stalemate, and it can start to create a power struggle, and then even new hurts, because we don't know when we're going to come back. Taking a break is not avoiding the conversation, right? So really, and then so if you need an hour, then you agree upon an hour. And I also tell my couples, like, it's not set in stone, right? So if you need more time, follow through in that hour and come check in. And if you need more time, then to tell your partner, hey, I need another hour, however long that might be.
I like that because it's so respectful of the other person. Where if, we're in a conversation and you need to take a break, I'm not just left here like, hey, you just walked away from me. I don't know if you're coming back, when you're coming back, if that time elapses and I need more time. Like, it's so respectful to come back and just communicate that. I know we said an hour and I'm not ready yet. Can you give me this much more time? And then to be the person who's on the other end of that, you know what to expect, and you're not feeling, like you said, completely disconnected or abandoned from the partner.
Yeah.
Okay, you had one more point here about coming back after the break.
Yeah, so sometimes couples get stuck in who's going to reinitiate the conversation, and that's a scary thing to do. And so, and even scarier with how much time goes by. The more time goes by, the harder that can be. So just a tip to not get stuck on who reinitiates the conversation. The point is to reconnect sooner, and often in couples there's a dynamic of one person is more of a pursuer and the other person often withdraws more, and so that's really common, and doing that is not a measure of love. It's just like a pattern that's probably been around for a really long time. And so to just focus on achieving reconnection sooner than later.
I love that. Okay. So thank you, Steph, for your prep work in walking us through these different elements of how we can take breaks, how you communicate that to your partner, why it's useful, like a useful tool when things get overwhelming. And if anyone would like to learn more or watch more of these videos, you can check us out at iecouplescounseling.com.